Now,
on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06 on this Wednesday morning in your nation's capital, 20th day of September. Coming up at 8:05, we're going to speak with former Congressman and former CIA officer Will Hurd, who's now running for the Republican nomination for president. I'm Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie. You saw the president yesterday at the United Nations, right?
I did.
This was just to remind everybody.
Now, it doesn't involve our institutions.
That would be the leader of the free world addressing the gathered assembly there. President Zelensky of Ukraine also had his moment and obviously trying to rally support of the world for his military cause against Russian aggression. So here was the important point that he made.
Even though humanity is failing on its climate policy objectives.
Wait, what? Let's bring in Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. He's senior fellow at Defense Priorities, and he has a piece in Newsweek about the Ukrainian effort. Thanks for joining us, Colonel.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Is it me, or is it sort of discordant, let's say, for the president of Ukraine to address the United Nations and focus so much of his energy on lecturing us about climate change policies? I mean, is this war an existential threat to democracy, as we've been told on a daily basis, to the tune of $100 billion of American money? Or is climate, I mean, what is he doing?
Yeah, I was with you. I thought for a second, am I listening to that speech? Is this something else?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a little odd of a departure from where he had been going, which you would fully expect, him talking about the attack into his country and the consequence and the devastation on his people and his cities and his country. And all those, of course, made sense, and everyone can understand that. But that part did seem a bit discordant, as you say, as to why he wants to talk about that and where is anyone going to be listening to Ukraine about global climate change. It was a bit odd. Your
article, Colonel, in Newsweek, the headline is "We Can No Longer Hide the Truth About the Russia-Ukraine War," really struck a chord with me because you sort of echoed something that I've been sensing. It seems like every 3 months, no matter what the season, whether it's summer, fall, springtime, winter, we always keep hearing, okay, the springtime offensive is now going to happen and Ukraine's going to make a huge dent. And then nothing comes of it. It's still a stalemate. And then you're, okay, well, the big summer offensive is about to happen and Ukraine will make a big dent in Russia. And it just keeps happening. We're still at a stalemate. We've been so for over a year, haven't we?
Well, we have, and you know, keeping exactly in with that thing you're talking about there, you already see them now talking about, all right, now then we're getting ready for the spring offensive in 2024. That's what they're already saying. This one hasn't even completed playing out, and they're already talking about that, and that's why they want this $24 billion of additional American money that's being debated in the Congress right now, because they say they want more tanks, more planes, more artillery rounds, you know, all of the kinds of weapons. But as I think I point out in that Newsweek piece, ultimately it's not a matter of technology, as important as that is in war. Ultimately, it's about the men, not the machines. And Ukraine has suffered so many casualties, and so many of their trained troops have long since been either permanently wounded or killed. And so now that when you just mobilize tens of thousands and actually hundreds of thousands of additional, they don't have the knowledge or experience that even though once they had. So now that if you give them more weapons, as we've seen, they had, look, a half a year in preparation for this offensive now. And according to the map that's shown on the Institute for the Study of War, which I looked at just last night, in almost 4 months of war conflict now, you can't even see where the map has moved. It hasn't changed at all. So why do we need to talk about one next year when this one didn't even accomplish anything?
Yeah, in your op-ed, you actually talk about those losses that, you know, it's being reported that we've lost 17,000 troops, but you're talking, the estimates are much higher than that. A total of 70,000 dead and 120,000 wounded on this offensive alone. Is the reason we're not hearing this? I mean, this is an incredible tragedy. Is the fact that the media is not really reporting the true numbers part of this effort to keep Americans in it and keep Europe in it, because knowing the real numbers would make people say, we got to bring an end to this?
Well, look, I think you saw that play out in President Biden's speech, because you didn't hear a word in there anywhere about any casualties
Right.
or any risk that Ukraine is suffering. Only about we're going to just keep going no matter how long it takes. You had the German parliament, of all people, saying we're going to support the Ukraine through 2032, which I thought was a bizarre statement. But I'm like, look, it's not just a matter of giving, 10 years more of weapons and ammunition and stuff. Who's going to use it? If Ukraine keeps losing this people at this rate, there's not going to be anybody left. And that's what people aren't paying attention to. Continuing on this war with a country that has almost 5-6 times the amount of people that they can put towards this, they can win a war of attrition. The Russians can. You're going to get Ukraine one day. They're going to literally just collapse because they don't have enough people to defend themselves. And the other part no one talks about is the impact this has going forward. No matter how this is resolved, I mean, you're losing an entire generation of Ukrainian men. Who's going to operate the machinery? Who's going to run families? Who's going to continue to be the next generation? That's being wiped out, and no one seems concerned about that.
We're speaking with Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. He's a senior fellow at Defense Priorities, and we're reacting to President Biden and President Zelensky's encouragement at the UN yesterday of more funding and more support for their effort against the Russian invasion. Colonel Davis, I think that Vice President Pence and Ambassador Haley actually made some pretty good points with regard to America's support of the Ukraine effort at the last Republican debate. And Vice President Pence basically said, listen, Ukraine's not part of NATO. That's a good thing. We can support this. We can fund this without committing our troops because the next border that Russia crosses will be a NATO ally, and we will have no choice. We will have to commit our troops. Number one, do you think that that's a fair argument to make? And number two, how that still doesn't tell us how this gets resolved. And I think it is incumbent on Mr. Pence to actually say, here's our end game, don't you?
100%. You couldn't be more right on that second point. But on the first point, the Vice President and Haley and all these others are dead flat wrong. I mean, fundamentally, that's wrong. Look, and you don't have to look very far. You don't have to be a military expert to get this. In 18 months of full-on war, Russia has been able to capture 17% of the country on their border that has no air force and no navy, and they have no alliances with any other country that would help them with troops. Now, what rationale would anyone claim that this Russia, who everybody pans as being this terrible thing, and that they're incompetent and all this, but then suddenly they're also a threat to roll into a 32-member alliance with nuclear weapons? I mean, that's nonsense. They don't have the physical capacity. Even if, let's just say for the argument that Putin actually did want to recreate the Soviet Union, he doesn't have the capacity to do so. I mean, they just don't have it. You see it graphically shown on the ground. Therefore, to your second point, then what do we need to do to bring this to an end? And how do we stop the killing in Ukraine? And that's what no one puts any plan forward whatsoever, and that is one of your big problems.
Is it your understanding that it's still our policy that the only acceptable resolution is a full and complete withdrawal of Russia from Ukrainian territory, including Crimea, which when Biden was vice president, he and President Obama were just fine doing nothing about Russian tanks rolling into Crimea. But is that still our policy that Russia has to leave Crimea as well?
You had President Zelensky on 60 Minutes on Sunday saying that exact thing. And,
wow.
And he was asked point blank, does that include Crimea? And he said, yes, that's the only thing. And you heard nothing but President Biden say, we're going to support you as long as it takes. And he said nothing to change that opinion. But as I argue in that Newsweek piece there, there is no military path to victory. So we're seeking a policy that can't be accomplished.
We got to leave it there, sadly, but I appreciate you giving us your insights on this, Colonel Daniel Davis, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis from the Defense Priorities. Thanks, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's 7:15 now, WMAL.
Favorite WMAL shows when you want them. Download the new WMAL app and listen on demand.
Honestly, Bills fans are getting worse than Eagles fans. Imagine if they actually ever win anything, how bad they're going to be.
Dear.
Oh, speaking of insufferable, obnoxious, grody Eagles fans, John Fetterman
Grody
is the junior senator from the state of Pennsylvania. And as you know, the rules for dress code in the United States Senate for elected officials have been dumbed down to the point where he can wear a hoodie and sports shorts and flip-flops onto the floor of the Senate, and everything's fine. Now, if you work for Senator Fetterman, if you're a comms person, press secretary, an intern even, no, you better not dress that way. You'll be out on your can.
Yeah.
But it's like there's two different rules.
It's got this whole very masks for thee and not for me vibe
really
to
does
it.
reek of
Education
that.
for me, but not for thee.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those double standards.
So John Fetterman and his other 99 colleagues can dress like a hobo, but the rest of you have to actually dress for success. Senator Collins doesn't like this either. She, the Republican of Maine, has...
Or maybe she does.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I shouldn't...
Maybe
I mean,
she's thrilled.
She joked yesterday that she'll now wear a bikini. No, it is in protest to the Fetterman rule.
Was it a joke?
What was it a joke? Please let it be a joke.
Be nice.
No, I just don't want to see any senator wearing a bikini.
Yes.
Even Kirsten Sinema. Although it's kind of a tough call. I had to flip a coin on that one, but honestly, that would be inappropriate. At least at the Senate.
Yes.
If we were on vacation, maybe enjoying life in Arizona together.
It's just...
It's sad. And as I said, even the Washington Post has come out against this. The Washington Post has basically said you'd think that at a time when faith in government is at an all-time low, you would do something that didn't further progress this institution to that of a high school cafeteria.
Fetterman is not physically disabled that he cannot put a suit on.
No, but it makes him sad.
This is insane.
It gives him the sads.
This is insane.
Right.
That they are changing the Senate rules to comply with.
It's all right. Senator Fetterman did show up, though, to give support to United Auto Workers who were striking not in his state. He went across state lines to do so.
Was that why he was at the airport?
Maybe, because, we'll get to that in a moment. Here he is delivering those remarks.
My message to the CEOs is,
This is his message to the CEOs. I hope the CEOs are listening, because this is important. This is an important message. Everybody listen.
It's $74 million, collectively earning that. How many yachts can they need, to water ski behind it? It's just crazy.
That is such a tired excuse.
Wait,
Yachts.
you actually made sense of that?
I did. Well, yes. I know.
Well
It
done.
was tough.
That's only because you had it written out in front of you.
Yes, I did.
By the way, President Biden seconded that sentiment yesterday and echoed Senator Fetterman's remarks.
Simply put,
Can't do it. I'm sorry. Well, all right.
now it has to involve our institutions.
There.
Let me be clear.
Yeah, let me be clear. I know it's a tired old trope, and I don't know why he's getting down on yacht rock, by the way, with that whole argument. You know how much we love yacht rock over here. But it doesn't look like Chuck Schumer's going to be changing anything anytime soon. This is how bad it's gotten. As he was returning from his trip in Michigan to support the United Auto Workers, John Fetterman was seen ambling through an airport, completely stark naked.
It wasn't.
Now, a passerby caught the video and posted it to social media.
My message to the CEOs.
Oh, wait.
Wrong one.
Sorry. Could have been. He continued to ramble on
I
about
believe
the
he was
CEOs.
fully clothed in his dirty hoodie at that point.
Do not record this. Do not record this.
There's a naked guy in the airport.
Stop this.
Yes, there is. My man.
Okay, that is you, my man, and then the woman is like, "Don't record
That's
this."
Meredith.
Yes,
That is
this
Meredith.
is 100% Larry Meredith.
Yeah, but my favorite is he says there's a naked man walking through the airport, and the naked guy turns and goes, "Yes, there is." So maybe this isn't John Fetterman because I actually understood what the naked man said
Good
there.
point.
Yeah, if it were John Fetterman, it would have been,
Let me be clear.
But so I reposted this on the X.com application there, and I said, could somebody please get Senator Fetterman back to his committee hearing? And people seem to enjoy that. But here's the problem, and this really is the problem. When you look at this, it does, for a moment, look like John Fetterman. And normally, you would say, well, that couldn't possibly be a United States senator. But in reality, anyone who looked at this and thought Fetterman and looked at this naked man ambling through the airport had to really scrutinize and say, is that John Fetterman? That could be
Larry,
John Fetterman.
And we should all be kind and sympathetic because maybe clothes make him depressed. So clothes in general. This week he's going to realize, oh, it's not that I wanted to wear comfortable clothes. It's that clothes in general. And this is where we are. You know, we elect our officials and we want them to hold certain standards, to put a suit on, be a grown-up.
Yes.
Do grown-up things.
Not even a suit. Long pants.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not like Fetterman needs to wear, Friday casual clothes.
Right.
He looks dumpy and dirty and gross.
A hobo.
It's rude.
He looks like he just crawled out from under one of Muriel Bowser's tents outside Union Station and made his way onto the Senate.
They roll out of bed and they put the same clothes on. That's what they look like.
Can you imagine the body odor that's going on there? It's not a healthy work environment.
But he wears shoes to that airplane bathroom.
But Senator Schumer needs to answer the question. If John Fetterman wanted to show up without a shirt on, would you turn him away?
How far are we going to go?
How far are we going to go with this? Absolutely. Anyway, if you'd like to see the naked man walking through the Dallas airport, it's not full frontal. It's a bum shot. It's funny. It is funny. Especially when he goes, yes, there is.
Well,
man.
It's disturbing that a naked dude was just walking through.
It's Texas. It gets hot down there.
Oh, please.
No? All right.
My man.
It's 7:23.
Now on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:36 here on this Wednesday morning in the nation's capital. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Is that Peter Gabriel? Yeah, it is. Who's going to hear Peter Gabriel live tonight at Capital One Center?
Yes.
It's a great song, too.
It is.
Yeah. Joe Biden loves this song, too. He's put together a vocal track to sing along with it. A lot of people don't know that.
It doesn't involve our institutions.
He missed one of the lyrics there, I think.
It works.
It's pretty close. It does fit right. Coming up at 8:05, Representative Will Hurd running for president. I want to get his opinion on John Brennan failing upward there with James Clapper, part of this new Homeland Security Advisory Panel. All right, so President Vladimir Zelensky came to the U.S. yesterday and spoke before the United Nations. And as we just discussed, you would think, given that the United States, at the very least, has given, over $100 billion, with another $24 billion being asked now for his war effort. And NATO nations, other countries have also provided billions and billions and billions and tens and hundreds of billions of dollars to this effort. You would think that he would spend his time to, first of all, thank the countries for doing that, save him and his people, and then also to make the case why their money is well spent and why this is so important that the war effort continues. Instead, he came there to lecture us about driving SUVs.
Even though humanity is failing on its climate policy objectives, this means that extreme weather will still impact the normal global life, and some evil state will also weaponize its outcomes. And when people in the streets of New York and other cities of the world went out on climate protest, we all have seen them. And when people in Morocco and Libya and other countries die as a result of natural disasters, and when islands and countries disappear underwater, and when tornadoes and deserts are spreading into new territories, and when all of this is happening, one unnatural disaster in Moscow decided to launch a big war and kill tens of thousands of people.
Oh, I see. So this is actually wickedly brilliant. Because if people are hesitant to continue to give him a blank check, and you've seen that from some countries, not just America. There's certainly resistance here in America. But there are other countries in Europe who have said, yeah, we've given enough. Okay, can we get to a negotiated peace now? Because it's a stalemate, and it's time to discuss terms so that we can end the war and end the killing and end the violence and move on. And instead, he just asked for more money. But this is wickedly brilliant because he's saying, this isn't really a war about oppression and dictatorship and imperialism and Putin and his designs on the new Soviet Union. No. This is really about climate change. The real enemy that I'm fighting with your money is climate change. Oh, he gets the grift.
No,
so
he
well.
really does.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and on top of it, he now has the English-speaking spokesman for men, really, for Ukraine is a transgender biological male pretending to be a
wears
female.
a really bad
Wig.
like Carol Channing wig.
Yeah, Carol Channing wig is
Right?
perfect.
Doesn't that look like Carol
Yes,
Channing?
it
Yeah.
looks like it. So he's got the transgender thing going, right?
Yeah.
He's got the climate change going.
He's checking all the boxes.
He is smart.
He's going to
You're
be the new
hang out- look,
spokesperson for the Biden administration.
if you're going to hang out with those UN types, you better sound woke.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what his priority is right now. It's the Babylon Bee put it best. Is like during the speech, he passed a collection plate around the United Nations. Like
Yeah, of
you're
course.
at church. You didn't expect that for him to get up there and say, "You idiots in the UN, you're failing us with climate change." I'm sorry, how much carbon is being spewed by all of the tanks that we've given him?
You know, it's funny. I have seen many articles about how, because of the bombs going off and all this other stuff, that it's adding to climate change. They are talking about that. So he knows that saying we need to bring an end to this because, and also
if you really want to save the
right.
planet, you better help us
and
win the
also,
war.
Yeah, it's sort of sound like I'm the partner you want, not Putin. I'm the good guy on climate change.
Right. He also did talk about Russia, though, quoting him, Ukraine is doing everything to ensure that after Russian aggression, no one in the world will dare to attack any nation. I don't know how you can guarantee that. Weaponization must be restrained. War crimes must be punished. Deported people must come back home, and the occupier must return to their own land. We must be united to make it, and we'll do it, is how he finished his remarks. So this, of course, in preparation for what will be a very lively debate here in Washington, D.C. about this new ask for $24 billion. House of Representatives and Kevin McCarthy wants a standalone bill so that people can vote yes or no, up or down, specifically on funding the Ukraine war effort. And by the way, Kevin McCarthy has been supportive of the Ukraine war effort, but he agrees that the only legitimate way for America to commit more money is to have a single solitary standalone bill so that we know where every elected official stands on.
That's right.
Because up until now, every single time they have approved it, it's been wrapped up with other things.
That's right.
Including hurricane efforts. Over in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, the same guy who just allows John Fetterman to wear, skate shorts to the Senate, he does not want to do that. And he is insisting that it be associated with, wait for it, hurricane relief funding as well as the fire relief funding in Hawaii. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
But if it's such a noble cause and the Democrats have God on their side on this Ukraine war effort, then you'd think that they would be eager to have a standalone vote. So for all those Republicans and maybe even some Democrats who vote against it, they can then use it in the general election. Like that's how politics is done,
That's
isn't
right.
it?
That's
If Democrats are on the right side of this and the American people are with them on this, as they claim, then they should be eager to have a standalone vote. Why are they resisting it,
I
Julie?
don't know. Curious thing that.
It is. It really deserves some more analysis. We'll get to it. It is 7:43, and I want to tell you about Northern Virginia's premier home run. All right, it's going to be a busy day on Capitol Hill today. Earlier in the program, we gave a bit of a preview to the real showstopper. This is going to be center stage, center ring, whatever you want to say, because it is a bit of a three-ring circus. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, will face questioning in the House Judiciary Committee. And as I mentioned earlier, and I'll just repeat it because I don't expect everyone to listen to 3 hours straight, although they should.
They should.
Every single question that the members of the Judiciary panel asked today, or every question that's being worked on right now with staffers, because they only have 5 minutes, there should be only one intention, and it's not to get on TV. It's not to have a soundbite that Hannity plays, okay? All they should care about today in the Judiciary Committee, and by the way, it's not to get the truth, because Merrick Garland's not going to tell you the truth. He's already demonstrated that he's willing to lie. No.
Under oath.
Under oath, right. Every question of the Attorney General today should be to get him to say something under oath that can be used either against him or Joe Biden in the impeachment.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. The question should all be crafted so that the answer will either advance the cause of impeachment for the president, or if he lies and tries to cover something up to protect the president, the impeachment of Merrick Garland. And by the way, real fast, if the Attorney General is lying under oath to protect the president, that also aids the impeachment of the president because that's obstruction of justice.
Right. And we know that the Republicans on that panel are the only ones going to do it. There isn't going to be one curious Democrat.
Oh, God.
There is not going to be one Democrat who thinks, hey, dude, you lied to us. And we're Congress, and we have oversight over you, and you lied to us. That's bad. It doesn't matter what party you are.
That's right. Now, the instinct is going to also ask questions about, and rightly so, about the persecution of pro-life demonstrators.
Yes.
We just had the conviction of 2 women in their 70s for facing 11 years in prison over protesting in front of an abortion clinic. I understand that instinct. That's appropriate. That's right to do. He's not going to give you anything on that. You're not going to score any points with him on that.
No.
All right. Just everything should be specifically, okay, when you said this under oath, what did you know about the Hunter Biden plea deal? Did you know anything about it? Nope, that was all David Weiss. Do you think it was a good idea?
And then
do you support David Weiss's plea deal?
If you think what David Weiss did was bad, why'd you appoint him?
That's right.
And why'd you even have to appoint him if he already had the...
Did you know that there was a backdoor immunity for Hunter Biden? No,
Yeah.
I did not. Did David Weiss know there was backdoor immunity? No, he did not. What kind of incompetent fool signs off on a plea deal if he didn't know there was a backdoor immunity?
And then knowing that he was incompetent and unethical, then you appointed him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you have any conversations with anyone about this before you appointed him as the special counsel? And on
Has there
and
been
on
any
and on.
coordination with the other prosecutors in other
right.
states? Georgia? And
That's right. Is there any email or any conversation with the White House counsel's office or anyone from that? Because guess what? If that email exists, it will find it. We will find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the Judiciary Committee will do. Let's see if they do. Meanwhile, House Republicans plan on grilling Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg today.
Is he off maternity?
I believe so.
leave now?
Yeah. Now he's got Kamala Harris's husband, the second dude. He's actually their go-to babysitter. He handles
excellent.
daycare. Yeah.
Excellent.
What's that guy's name again?
Bob.
Bob is the name of
I think so.
Kamala Harris's husband?
I think so.
Is it Bob?
I think
Or
so.
Bruce.
Chad.
Lance? Anyway, he's the babysitter for the babies there, the Pete Buttigieg and his husband.
Yep.
Don't know his name either.
No.
Oh, no, Chad. That is Chad. No, Chester.
Chester.
No.
Chelsea.
Anyway, the point is,
No.
Pete Buttigieg will be testifying before the House Transportation Infrastructure Committee today, and it will all be about EV batteries and charging stations.
Oh, fun.
Yes, absolutely. And finally, there's one other big high-profile thing going on the Hill today. Oh, yeah, John Fetterman will dress like a hobo. It's 7:53.
Let's hope he's not naked.